Hello everyone, my name is Trent Murray and I'm the Associate Pastor at First Baptist Church in Iowa Park. I primarily work with students and our worship ministry, but I have over a decade of experience in VBS from the volunteer side to even some programming and working along with the VBS team. I've seen VBS in every context, from a church of 600 to a church of 20. And so our hope with the association is just to provide you some tips and tricks for any size church, regardless of the curriculum that you've chosen, to help you in your planning and preparation and encourage you ahead of VBS this year. In this video, I'm going to be talking about our music rotation and some specific do's and don'ts, and also some things that maybe you don't normally think about in a music rotation. The first thing that's very important and often overlooked is that you need to learn the music ahead of time. You need to get the music into your hands if you're responsible for leading the music rotation, or into your volunteers' hands as soon as possible. And not only that, you need to make sure that you hold them accountable to listening to the material beforehand. I know many of you are probably thinking to yourself right now, well, I've given them the stuff in the past and they never look at it. And they show up and I can tell they haven't even listened through the songs. Well, remember that that's your job to not only give them the information, but also your job to keep them accountable throughout the process. So maybe one tip that can be helpful is plan a time a week or so before VBS where you meet specifically with the music volunteer and have them lead you through the songs to teach you the motions. That just ensures that they've listened to it ahead of time. And then you yourself can even talk with them about the importance of the lyrics, the spiritual matters of the songs, and even ask them how they'll help the students or children apply that. I think it would be really helpful. Just remember that you cannot teach what you don't know. And so don't rely on the videos to do your job, and don't allow your volunteer to do the same. Because children will mimic your enthusiasm and your confidence. And so if they look and see their leader looking up on the screen and kind of unsure about themselves and learning the music along with them, they're not going to be confident in their own actions. But a leader who is enthusiastic and excited and is teaching from an area of knowledge and not from a let's learn together idea, that's going to be a lot more beneficial for the children, and it's going to be easier to encourage them to participate together. The second thing, along with making sure you know the music ahead of time, is to begin with the why before the what. So from the very get-go of the first day of VBS, you need to explain the importance of worshiping God and how these songs aren't just fun songs with cool dance moves, but they're actually a way that we can worship God together. Now, you don't have to teach the Bible study. That's not your role. You don't have to teach the missions class. That's not specifically what you were called to right here. But you can drop in some spiritual direction into the worship rotation. Really hammer home that the movements are important, because children can be kinetic learners. It really helps them ingrain it into their mind. But the movements are not the end goal. The end goal is to worship God. And so remind the children throughout the week, tell them from the beginning, this is the importance of just worshiping God, but then remind them throughout the week, hey, we're not just trying to nail these dance moves. What is this song saying about God? And it can really be encouraging to them to kind of connect the dots and reinforce what they're learning in their other rotations. So I think you also need to share the hope for the week and share the hope for the music rotation throughout the week from the very beginning. So that on the first day you're explaining to them, hey, today we're going to learn the theme song, and we're going to learn a daily song each day. And by the end of the week, our hope is at our parents' night or maybe Sunday morning service, your parents are going to be coming. And I'll tell you, these children, if they know that their parents are going to be watching, it may even encourage them to learn a little bit better and encourage to I don't want to say put on a better performance, but to really work hard at learning these songs so that they can do a great job of doing the motions in front of their parents. I think that's a great way to encourage them and show them the why before the what. I think the third thing is that you need to utilize your breaks to cast spiritual vision. I know that it's really difficult to keep children still and quiet, so you want to keep this short. You don't want to ramble on, but you can really utilize those breaks in between songs because they're getting their energy out, they're singing, they kind of want to sit and take breaks. They welcome that in between songs if you have them just sit for a minute and maybe connect the lyrics of the song that day to their memory verse. Or maybe connect the lyrics of the songs to a specific spiritual truth that really has stood out to you. Now remember, you need to create illustrations that are straightforward and not too abstract. Children are not very abstract thinkers, and so if you have an illustration, you need to make sure that it's pretty cut and dry and not necessarily something that is abstract in thought that they have to really, really wrestle with. Just kind of point to a lyric in the song and how it applies to their memory verse, to what they've learned in their mission rotation, to what they've learned in the Bible story time, and just the overall theme of the week. My final tip for you is this: don't beat a dead horse. I've seen it too often in music rotations. You have 30 or 40 minutes in this rotation and you don't need to sing the same song 10 times. You see, our brains can learn the songs just once or twice through. But don't force these children to sing the same song 10 times in a rotation. It's just not going to serve the same purpose. So, in fact, our brains learn a little bit better when we take little breaks in between, or if we go from one thought to another and then come back to it, maybe take a brain break. And so here's kind of a structure that you could do. You could teach the daily song and then run it once or twice, but then break that up with a little spiritual direction like we spoke before, or maybe throw in some different VBS songs from previous years, or throw in some songs that your church regularly does on a Wednesday night or on a Sunday that the kids might know, or maybe throw in some songs that are on Christian radio. This is not necessarily to have your children perfectly perform the songs, but they may enjoy just a little brain break where they're still worshiping God, they're still thinking through these lyrical truths that are being presented to them, but it doesn't force them to just continue the same song so that they're tired of it by the end of the 40-minute session. You don't want that. You want the kids to be excited about the song. You don't want them to be just pulling their hair out and tired of it. I've seen too often leaders of music rotations just say, all right, today we're going to learn the daily song, and then they will just do it for the 30 to 45 minute rotation. So please avoid that. Utilize those brain breaks. Drop in the spiritual direction. Drop in other VBS songs. Review VBS songs that you've done from earlier on in the week. If you're at day 4 or 5, maybe teach them that new song, but then ask the kids, hey, which one's your favorite one so far? But if you're the leader, I need you to communicate this information to your music volunteer. Because if you take it seriously and you want these children to not only just learn some movements to a song, but to worship God through the music time, you need to do a good job of effectively communicating this to your music volunteer. I hope that this has been helpful, and I am praying for you ahead of your VBS this year.